Welcome to the Again Clubroom. My name is Mark Moyer, and I'm excited to have you all here. But not because I'm going to be talking, but because I've got two fantastic gentlemen who each played in the NFL and are each involved with entrepreneurial activities right now. They are fantastic. I'm going to bring them both in right now, and as I do so, I'm going to do a little bit of a quick bio where some of it might be accurate, some of it might not be. Maybe I'll just make some stuff up. I don't know. No, I'm kidding. But hey, Mike, good to see you, and hello, Tim.
Hey,
all right.
Hey.
So I'm going to start with the guy. All right.
What's up, Mike? How we doing, man?
Hold on, Tim.
Thanks for being here. Have a lovely day. Bye. Anyways, no, I'm going to do a quick little bio on both you guys. Number one is I'll start with Mike. And Mike was I didn't realize people were actually born in Idaho, but he was one of them. And grew up in Spokane, where my sister lives now. Or I'll tell you a different story about why it's called Spokane. But anyway, graduated from University of Idaho, was an undrafted free agent, got to play for Jacksonville for 7 years, I believe, beginning when they were a brand new team. And that can't be easy. But the cool part about that, and people don't mention this, is that when you're playing for a brand new team and you do anything, you're setting a new team record. Good for you, Mike. Anyways, he launched the Proform Kicking Academy a long time ago, back in the 1940s, I think it was. But he's still back when the ball was square. But he's still teaching people how to kick square balls and oval ones too. But even cooler was he had a tryout after being retired 20 years, tryout and kick for the Jacksonville Sharks. We'll talk about that in a minute. And is now with a company called 3, and we'll talk about that later. So thanks for being here, Mike. How'd I do?
You did fabulous. You went for the square ball thing. I'm really not sure where that came from, but
the what?
The square ball thing.
Yeah, no, it's true. Anyways, and then Tim was born and raised in New Jersey. He hung out with Bruce Springsteen all the time. Went to and graduated from Rutgers, and then decided, well, I'm going to go follow my coach. He's coaching in Tampa, and followed Greg Schiano back down to Tampa. Played for him his rookie season. Played for a couple of years. He inadvertently won a Super Bowl back in 2014 by accident with my favorite team, the and anyways, and also at the same time owns and runs and does all this cool stuff with The Right Cut, which is an amazing barbershop on Rutgers University campus, but is also instrumental with Dome Audio, which he co-founded a few years ago, and now it's about to hit the big time in a couple of months, right?
Yes, sir.
This is pretty exciting.
No, it is. Thank you, Mark.
Of course. All right, but listen, first things first, I want to talk to you both because I do want to talk about the journey from the NFL to what you're both doing now. But before I do that, what happened this weekend in football, man? It was crazy. First of all, my Giants got absolutely demolished. Like it was like, I don't know, a D3 team facing off against the Cowboys. It was horrible. The worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And in my football pool, of course, I picked the Giants. So that was bad. And then bad part two is, oh, poor sap Aaron Rodgers. Oh my God. 4 snaps and that's it.
4 snaps.
And you know, I was thinking, this guy played for 19 years and nothing like this happened before. I mean, there was one season he was out for half the year, but anybody who plays a long time, Mike, it's happened to you. On any given play, something could happen, but it just seems like, wow. It's a Jets thing, man. It's a Jets thing.
It's a Jets thing.
I don't know. Tim, what do you think?
Yeah, that what we witnessed in week 1 is what makes the NFL exciting to watch. Because everybody has all of these lofty expectations, and this guy's going to do this team is going to do, and then boom, it's like you get smacked in the face, and it's just like it's fun, it's entertaining. The unpredictableness of sports is just what's the common ground of why people watch it. So, I was a little devastated for Aaron Rodgers last night, but the way those guys rallied around Zach Wilson, and then the way it ended was just like, man. And then the stadium, it almost looked like a concert at the very end. It was like, yo, this is football. So, I was really thrilled about the weekend of sports for sure.
That was crazy. How about you, Mike?
Well, I think it's always with NFL or college football, the first game of the year is always kind of a crapshoot. You think about coaches and having to scheme, against the other team. Well, preseason, they're not showing a lot of stuff. Clearly, they're just showing very basic stuff. Well, you get into the regular season, now they're showing. Now you're going to start to see things you've never seen a team do, and then now there's film of that team doing those things. So now from this point on, it's almost like everyone, okay, I see where they're going with that. Okay, so I didn't know that yesterday, but I do now today, yep. Sort of thing. And I think that's really across the board. You got new coaching staffs, you got new players, obviously. Yeah, they've had some preseason games, but I think just getting that synergy of everyone on the same page the first week is always difficult.
Yeah, it is.
It's funny. I saw somebody, a fan or something, but it was funny. He recorded something on, I don't know, his Twitter or something, where he was pretending to be like a mafia guy, and he was like, "Yo, Giants," and he's like, and he was saying, "Look, if this was your way to try to like get everybody else in the league to not worry about you and not prepare for you, that's the only reason I can imagine why you would have played this way otherwise." And I could say there wasn't one guy on that team that actually performed his abilities. I don't know what happened, man. Something must have been I've never seen like that. I don't know. Anyways,
I was telling some people that reminded me of my year with the Patriots, and we played the Kansas City Chiefs week 2, and every reporter, every human watching the game was like, "This is Tom Brady's last season."
2014.
Oh my gosh, we got destroyed. And you talk about the decibel level at Arrowhead. It was, I think they set the record that year. Like, they broke it and set it that year. And all I remember was Bill Belichick saying, "On to Cincinnati." And that next week, we came out and dominated. And next thing you know, Tom goes on for another 8 years or so, like,
yeah,
whatever it was. But it's part of it. It's part of the process, man.
Well, you do know he's coming back, and he's gonna be wearing the Jets in a little green jersey soon. Can you imagine that? Oh my God.
Gosh.
Well, Stranger Things, right?
Right.
He's bored right now. He's single and traveling the world. He's got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, but no, that's the as you said, the exciting thing about this sport is that there was that movie On Any Given Sunday, right? You just never know who's going to step up and be the hero or the GOAT, and not the GOAT in the good way, the GOAT in the bad way. But anyways, all right. So look, next I want to jump into each of you and your journey from the sport to what you're doing now, and try to make it somewhat brief. But Mike, better at first. Tell me a little bit about, share with everybody how you decided, okay, maybe I'm done and I need to look at what's next. And when you did come to that realization, did you already have in mind some ideas of what you're going to do next? Or was it kind of like, oh boy, what am I doing now?
Yeah, I was not prepared. I think the NFL is doing a very good job these days of preparing guys, because guys like me, and I retired in 2004 officially, so that was many moons ago. And so I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I was going to retire. I had the reason really is because of my back. I had 4 back surgeries. Wow. And so you would think that would keep me from playing football, but as you mentioned earlier, I did play one game for the Sharks here, the Jacksonville Sharks here locally. It's an indoor football team. So I did play professional football at the age of 50, which I still don't know why I did it, because my back was killing me the next day and the next day after that, next day after that. But, just transitioning from, a sport to real life it wasn't like cut and dry for me as it would be for most guys. I was on the injury protection benefit for the last year that I was kind of more or less, the first year I was retired. So I retired, but I was still getting some money from an injury protection benefit that the NFL offered, and I applied for it and got it. So I was kind of let down a little a lot easier than some of the other guys that just stopped playing football and the checks stopped coming in from that moment on. But after that next year, when the checks stopped coming in, and again, I really was bored for 2 months. So I decided, okay, I'm going to retire. I've got money coming in. I'm good. I'm set. I bought a new house in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. And I'm like, cool. I did my little honeydew things I was doing, fixing up that, little things in the house, got all my list of things done. And then I sat around looking around, like looking at thumbs, like, okay, what am I going to do? And it was the worst feeling in the world. It really is. So when anybody thinks about retiring, you got to have something you want to do when you retire. I didn't really know what I was going to do. And so I started talking to some friends and kind of getting involved with a couple of things, you know, investments because of my network of current and former players at the time. You know, these financial guys are like, hey, you should come work for me and try to sell hedge funds. And I'm like, oh my God, really? That's what it's come down to. But, you know, you think one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that the longer you play in the NFL, and assuming you've got your college degree, the longer you're away from what that degree would be doing for you at that time. And so when you're done playing college or NFL football, when you're done playing your football in your sport, and you now want to do something maybe your degree was worth or what it was doing, you're obsolete at that point. And in my case, I was 10 years behind the peers that I graduated college from or with. And so it just was like, okay, well, if I want to go back and do that when I graduated with, I'm going to have to be, you know, go to classes. I'm going to have to go back to college. I'm going to have to get certified in certain things. And I just wasn't really interested in doing that. So you do kind of in a more or less start over. And as a kicker, you know, they're making a lot of money these days, but I wasn't making nearly as much as they are now. And, you know, that money was not going to, you know, it wasn't going to get me to live the rest of my life. And so it was a very difficult thing for me to do. I was stuck in a situation like, what do I do? And so I dabbled in a couple little things, and I got into this franchise opportunity with, you know, the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin and the eBay store that was across the street from the guy's store. It was an eBay drop-off store. And that was big, you know, back in maybe 2005, 6, 7, 8, maybe. I got involved in a franchise, and it was just, the model was flawed. I had to sell the businesses and give them up basically. I opened up 2 stores. So that was kind of a failure. I'm like, okay, well, that wasn't a very good start. So I, you know, go back to the drawing board and think about things I'm doing. And again, it's just that entrepreneurial type of spirit that I have. I wanted to maintain my thoughts and my passion for football. And so I opened up my kicking academy in 2007. So I've been doing that since then as far as coaching. So that's been really good, but that wasn't really, you know, making, you know, paying the bills, of course. And so I'm, you know, dabbling with other things, and I've always done just different things. I want to be like the jack of all trades. I want to know a little bit about a lot of stuff. And it kind of opens my, you know, broadens my horizon a little bit with regards to what I feel passionate about doing. But I've always been passionate about health and wellness and fitness and stuff. And so if I find something, a product or a workout or something, like I do a lot of boxing. I'm with Title Boxing. I've been with them for 12 years now. Wow. And I love it. I love it. I love boxing. And we're not boxing anybody. I'm just hitting a bag for an hour. But I love it. It's a great full body workout, and it's the best workout that I found for my back. That's key number one. I wanted to stay in shape and make sure that I wasn't going to get, you know, out of shape and, you know, big and unhealthy. I wanted to stay obviously in shape. And that was one that I found. But, you know, with the wellness part, I definitely want to make sure I don't eat the greatest. I'm not the greatest eater. So I take supplements. And every time I come across supplements that I think I might like, I try. And this company 3 came along, and I jumped on board, and it's been going real well for me. So, but just the whole path was kind of challenging. It was very challenging. Exactly. Very, very challenging. Tim, I don't know about you, but it was a rocky road for a while.
I'm going to share mine as well.
Yeah.
You're up next, brother.
Sure, right. Nah, man. Hey, Mark, you want me to just jump right in?
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so, you know, for me, I would take it back a little further from when I was younger. And I actually lived a long period of my life with my grandparents. All my parents, I had a village of family that raised me, but my grandparents spent a lot of time in the yard landscaping after work. And when I came home from school, I would just go outside and just follow them around the yard. And I just grew this passion and desire for things that look good and what you can do when you put hard work into something. And so with that then transitioned into the classroom, where I love artwork. I love having the best projects. And I was like, I had this magnetic energy where people knew they wanted to be in my group, but they also knew they was going to get a good grade because of the artwork. And at the age of 13, my dad took me to the barber shop, and I experienced a bad haircut. And he brought a pair of clippers, and he said, this will never happen again. And every time I would walk by that bag of clippers, I'm like, man, I'm going to pick those clippers up. I'm going to sit on the counter in the bathroom and cut my hair. I did it at the age of 13, and I never looked back. So for the last 20 years, I've been cutting my hair every week of my life. And it's just it's a reinforcement every week. But part of that ritual, the way I learned how to cut hair at the mastery level that I know now, is by watching videos on YouTube and perfecting my craft. And it was the seeds I was planting, where we all know anybody who gets their, hair done by a barber or a stylist, or, any type of grooming, that individual that's doing the service is almost like a therapist to you. So when I went to Rutgers University, I was cutting students that represented all parts of the world. And I got to soak up so much knowledge about what they loved, what they liked, what they didn't like, why they didn't like it, and their perspective on the world. And I'm just soaking this in every single week. Teammates, coaches, their kids, like students across the campus, the whole nine. And when I got to the point where I said, okay, I got a shot in the NFL, and it was through the back door. I was undrafted as well, Mike, in the audience. I literally just had the only shot that I had was to go out there and perform. And luckily, like Mark said, my coach went down to Tampa Bay and he said, hey, man, get down here and come prove yourself. And they ended up switching my position. So that's a form of adversity, where I went in as a wide receiver, 220 pounds. 2 weeks in, they switched me to tight end in a room full of 7 guys. And I was the youngest and most inexperienced guy in that room. And they said, you got 3 weeks to make this team. I went out, I did it. I broke records my rookie season, and I set the league on fire. And subsequently, that's where Bill Belichick and Tom Brady came and got me, won the ring, did my damage. But ultimately, when I reached that point, my 3rd season is when I really started to understand the business of sports. And I went out there, and just like Aaron Rodgers experienced last night, the first OTA practice, which stands for organized training activities, it's the spring ball of NFL, I tear my ACL. And at that very moment, I said, NFL stands for not for long. And all the things that I've been doing in my past, I want to go back on campus in a market that's isolated with tens of thousands of students and faculty and staff. And I'm going to open up a barbershop hair salon right on the heart of campus that I can then take this blueprint and go around the rest of the country with. So that was the start of my entrepreneurial path. It's been there now for 7 years. Had over 15,000 unique people inside the business, and it's a great blueprint. But in 2018, I was introduced to Dome Audio by my partner, who I knew prior to that. Right after the NFL, we met each other. And when he showed me the rendering of the technology, which I'm sure we'll get into soon, I was just like, I want to join you on this mission, because what's rooted in me is big vision, it's impact on the world, and it's opportunities that can ultimately create generational wealth. So that's the route that I chose, and I was essentially prepared to take this path, and I just did it with not looking back. So that's my path and my journey of where I got to with entrepreneurship.
That's awesome. We're going to talk in a second about each of your what's going on now with that, with both 3 and Dome. Yes. But just to go back a little bit on Tim, for you and the haircutting thing, I want to know so do me a favor. On the right side, you'll see it says chat, participants, Q&A, polls, and all that sort of thing. For the folks that are here, do me a favor, and in the chat box, just put in there if you actually can cut your own hair. Because me, I do. That's not fair.
I don't see the problem. What's wrong?
That's not fair. That's not fair.
Hey, Mike got it easy.
because me, I'm like, I can't figure out. If you look in the mirror, it's backwards and upside down. It's a giant mess. So, this is great. So anyways, that's pretty cool. And we'll talk about the right cut in a few minutes too, Tim. Yes. But it's, oh my God, forget it. In fact, during COVID, we were up at our house, and people were not getting haircuts necessarily, or whatever it was. And so I was like, well, I'm the proud dad. I'm trying, my son's a teenager. I'm like, I'm going to try cutting his hair. And I used, the razor. Yeah. And let's just say there was a little bit of an accident. And so he had a little bit of a divot taken out of the back of his head. Now, he wouldn't have known about that because he doesn't look in the mirror and so forth. And sure enough, I fessed up, and he won't let me get anywhere near him with
Yeah,
scissors or whatever. It's done.
Done.
I mean, I feel like I can work on it and get better at it. So maybe I'll come to the Tim Wright School of
Right,
Hair
there it
Cutting
is.
soon.
I got
But
you.
cool. That's great. Now, Mike, I wanted to point out one thing you said earlier. You said that there's that perception with the athletes that play, especially if they've played 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years and they've got a degree, but now they feel like they're behind. I speak to a lot of athletes that feel the same way. The interesting thing is that where you feel that you're behind, you feel you may be behind in experience, but we all know people that have been working for 10 years in banking, insurance, whatever it is, that quite frankly, it's almost as if they've been working for 1 year. They're really not that good at it or that bright or whatever it is. And what athletes sometimes forget is that they've been developing over those years really a fantastic professional business resume that a lot of times they don't realize. Because I mean, just the fact that you've been in front of a camera for all those years, having, doing interviews, performing under immense pressure, being able to pivot, being able to memorize playbooks. There's so many things that professional athletes do and amateur athletes do during the course of their careers that put them in fantastic position to be successful in business. And with that, when I do hear an athlete say, "Oh man, I'm way behind," you're not way behind. You're at the same level, just in a different direction. But businesses, et cetera, they would love to see, and businesses should be falling all over themselves to hire people, to hire retired athletes, because you carry something that non-athletes just don't have. You carry so many of the skills and abilities that make for a successful entrepreneur. So, I wish that back then, Mike, whether it's Players Trust or whoever it was that had some of these career programs that are happening now, we're able to reach out to some of the players and say, look, you actually are farther ahead than you think you are. And you can be shooting way higher. Unfortunately, I believe too many of them shoot too low. So there's certainly that. Now, one last thing, by the way, if anybody here has questions, throw it in that Q&A section. Shirley just did. But if you can throw some questions in there, that'd be great. Anyways, taking a step back, Mike, tell me a little bit about what was that light switch that switched for you to become involved in the company today, without doing too much of don't go into the big sales pitch necessarily, but just talk a little bit about, because it's a crowded industry and business. And so, I mean, there's so much competition in there, but what was it about them that made them stand out to you? And, tell me a little bit about what's going on with that.
Okay, well, great. When I first was introduced to the information, part of what was said was the fact that this company was brand new. It is a direct sales company. Okay, so it was brand new. It was, at the time I was introduced, it was about a month old. We were in 14 countries on the very first day we opened up. So I invested in a software development company years ago, and I learned really quickly how difficult it is to get involved in e-commerce over foreign exchange. It's an incredibly difficult thing for companies to do. Different regulations in different countries, a lot of red tape you got to go through, a lot of money, a lot of time coding for all that, a lot of maintenance. Just my lead developer gave me like 15 reasons why we couldn't do it at that time, of course. But for a company to be in 14 countries on the very first day, that was eye-opening for me. Like, okay, that means the company, it's a debt-free company. Our CEO put a lot of money into the company on his own, out of his own pocket. We're like I said, we're in 14 countries. We've got 100 more countries on the list to go. So that was, those things like that. And of course, our products are in the physician's desk reference guide, which is incredibly vetted and credible source for doctors. Doctors have a medical license on the line that they worked really hard for. They're not going to prescribe or recommend any product that they don't trust. This physician's desk reference guide, or the prescriber's digital reference, is what they're referring to now. That book is the doctor's Bible. They go to that book to prescribe, recommend, and give any information to anybody about products they can take that they trust. Because in order to get in that book, there's a lot of different categories, things you have to pass as a company in your products that you're applying for, but three main categories. You have to have your products third-party tested before and after the creation of the product, just to make sure that your label is telling the truth, being honest. You have to have that product or those products clinically studied. You have to have these studies to show if there's any bad side effects or what it is that product is actually doing in your body. And the third is you cannot white label a product and try to get it in that book. You can't hire a manufacturer to make a product for you, slap your company label on it, and then try to get it approved in that book. It just won't fly. So those are three major categories. We've passed all those and more. Of course, all 6 of our products are in that book. And so again, you're getting that trustworthiness from the general market across the board, obviously, but also doctors. We have around 800 doctors, 800 that are involved in this company with us.
Tell me about one product though. Give me one product, one of the products.
Vitalite. It's our multivitamin superfruit blend. It's got 72 trace minerals and amino acids. It's got an omega-3 gel cap from salmon. That's the highest quality of omega-3 you can find. But what really separates our products from the rest is our absorption technologies. Our chief scientific officer he's Caltech trained. He's got a PhD in organic chemistry from Colorado State. He also has 16 patents on delivery technologies that he has to his name, that we use 11 of those in our products. Okay. Nobody else in the world has our technologies that we use.
When you say, sorry, because I'm just going to interrupt with some questions I'm going to represent the less educated or something. Because you sound like you're on a roll, and I love it. So tell me a little bit about, what do you mean by absorption technology?
Okay, great question, Mark. Yeah. Absorption technologies is essentially the bioavailability rate, so the absorption rate. So standard products on the market right now, you get it at CVS, at your grocery store, Costco, wherever you're finding your multivitamin blends, whatever. Yeah. The standard absorption rate is around 10% on average. So 10% of that product that you're absorbing, or I'm sorry, consuming, only 10% of that product is actually getting absorbed. And on another note, about 95% of the vitamins, minerals on the market right now are synthetic. You don't even realize they're synthetic. They're not even real. Okay, so not only that, the absorption rate is very, very low. So go back to
wait, time out. What I'm going to ask. My math tells me that 90% of it is not being absorbed. So where's it going, out in the toilet or whatever?
We call that expensive toilet water. Yes.
Okay. All right.
And when you take a vitamin that you think is really strong, and then you pee really bright yellow. Yep. Oh man, this vitamin is really good. Look at that, the color of my. It's actually bad.
So should I just walk over right now and toss that Centrum? It's gone. I'm in. All right. One more sale, Mike. Nicely done.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. We're getting tons of testimonies too. And these are people for just offering their testimonies on things that they never really thought that we're going to have the experience from these products. And they're sharing information, diabetes, like my blood numbers are really better now. And ADHD, and people, kids are getting off their ADHD meds because of these products. And I'm being serious here. But again, going to that bioavailability rate, our technology actually increases that rate quite substantially. We did a test recently. It was a bioavailability test. We had a third-party company come in and test all 6 of our products against a 10% organic control group. And what they found is that our worst performing product was still 3 times greater absorption rate than that 10% control group. Our best performing product was 9.5 times greater absorption rate than that 10% control group. And so we, across the board, we have 6 products for optimal health, and they're getting absorbed, and people are actually feeling it.
So just tell me real fast, because look, there's a lot of stuff out there that and doesn't mean supplement. It can be anything that's out there that all make these great claims, and they all look fantastic, and they've got a really amazing sales machine behind them and that sort of thing. And sometimes the products are revolutionary and fantastic. I'm involved with a few. Sometimes they're not, right? What makes you think, like, I mean, I see social media. You're all over, man. You're in. So is it some of the technology behind it? Is it the founder? What is it that's got you, that making you believe that you want to be involved with them for a while?
Well, it's that absorption rate plus the quality of the products. We have a team of scientists that travel the world that grab very, very phytonutrient-rich plant material from places along the equator. So the climate where those plants grow is ideal for those to grow. We have actually a medicinal research center that we just opened up in Thailand. We have a farm on that land as well. But also the people that have been growing really exotic plants out there know what they're doing, and so we're following their lead. We're finding very, very high quality phytonutrient rich plants. We're bringing back, curating our our products essentially, and then adding our technology to them. And the biggest thing, again, I'm going to go back to that PDR and the doctors behind our products. We have 800-ish doctors involved in our company as brand ambassadors. Not all of them are doing the business side of it. They're just very, very passionate about the products. And the PDR, like what more do you need, honestly? I mean, you're talking about products you can find across the marketplace, but 95% of those are not in the PDR.
By the way, I got to say something. I've known you for a little while now. I've never seen you this fired up, man. I'm happy to see it. You're on a roll.
It's passion, man. It's passion. And I
love it.
Do the same thing with my kickers when I'm coaching kickers. Like, man, do this. Just do what I'm saying and stop worrying about where the ball goes. Everyone worries about where the ball goes. I understand it's important, but the mechanics are what makes the thing work. It's not the result. If you want to just get a result-driven kick, you're just going to athletically kick it, and you're not going to do any fundamentals at all.
All right, Tim, don't worry. I haven't forgotten about you. We got plenty to talk about. But Rhonda has a quick question about, what is the supplement company? And she says, are you NSF certified?
Yes, we are NSF certified, and it's called 3 International, THREE International. Like I said, it's a direct sales company, so best way of getting information is going through me. You can look it up if you want, but they kind of funnel all the information to their company website.
Nicely done. All right. And all right. So batting next, and we'll bounce back to you, Mike, in a sec. Tim.
Yes, sir.
All right. When we first met, a few months ago, I was super intrigued by Dome Audio and what it's doing, and it's the mission. But I think I'll stop right there. Tell everybody a little bit about Dome Audio. What was it that inspired its creation, and when's it launching, that sort of stuff?
Absolutely. No, thank you, Mark. And thank you for the story, Mike, and your background with 3. That's awesome. But essentially what we have with Dome Audio, everyone, is a revolutionary headphone technology that uses bone conduction. Different than Beats and Bose and AirPods, everything that goes through the ear canal. Bone conduction actually sits on the bone. And about 7 years ago, my partner, his name is Ben White. He is the CEO and also the inventor of this technology. He got his hands on a pair of conventional bone conduction headphones, which look like this. He was in the music industry for 25 years as a songwriter, musician, and he essentially said, look, I want to try this out. And he put it on his head like this. And when he said I understand the concept of sound, he got very curious and slid it behind his ears. And that's where the light bulb went off. So all the other headphone brands in the bone conduction space look like this. And he said, if I added 2 more speakers, it's going to increase the fidelity and the experience of the audio. And so that's where he then invented this. This is our prototype 5.0. As I mentioned earlier, I came on board in 2018. We were at the ground level and we said, let's take this company to the moon. And so what he created was a 4-point speaker system that has 2 transducers on both sides, and it rests right on your bone. And it sends the music, the audio, any phone calls, anything you stream through the headphone directly into your inner ear, where you can experience the entire world around you. So the way it looks is like this. When you slide it on, your entire ear is exposed. So you're now totally fully aware of your surroundings. You're staying connected and not disconnected like most conventional headphones. But when you do want to go into a privacy mode, you take this dome cover, which is another patented element that we have to our design. You attach it to the frame of the headphone just like this, and now it puts it into a privacy mode. So now you have the option whether you want to hear the world around you or you want to block the outside world out. But what I saw being, again, next to Tom Brady in the locker room, all of these different endorsements and brands and companies pouring in, trying to get a hold of us, Mike, I saw that this dome cover was an opportunity to do licensing deals because it's a blank canvas. So what I mean by that is now we're giving the consumer the ability to change their dome cover and whatever look they want to have whenever you want to wear your headphones. So these are just 2 concept examples of what we mean by headphone real estate. Now, the next part of this technology, which is truly fulfilling and impactful, is that this same headphone works for folks who are normal hearing as well as deaf and hard of hearing. And for the last 2 years, we went around the country. There's 500 million people who are deaf and hard of hearing, and they have never had a headphone experience like they do now with Dome Audio. So it's a blue ocean, untapped market and community that by us going grassroots and putting this headphone on each individual's head, we lowered the barrier of entry, whereas otherwise, if we would have came in with a, mass marketing, it would have just felt like we were trying to either exploit the community or take advantage of their challenge. But by us creating relationships, like you said, Mike, we have doctors such as audiologists, ear, nose, and throat, organizations for all the different, deaf communities and firms that's out there. They are backing this because for the first time, it's not deemed as a medical device. It's a headphone that's universal for everyone. And so they don't have to wear a hearing aid and get automatically stereotyped when they walk into a venue or a space with other people in it. They can wear the same headphone that normal hearing people wear, and now they can enjoy experiences like none before. Finally, we're producing a proprietary app. And because this headphone is open ear, we're now manifesting features and experiences that's never been realized because everything else has put you in a box. So, for example, you can go to a live sporting event, watch the game live while getting commentary streamed directly into your headphone. You can be on a tour or a museum at Disney or different parts in DC or wherever you are, and you can go and walk through, and the tour guide can be speaking through their headphone connected to hundreds of headphones where you don't have to be directly next to the person. We have language translation. For example, if you go to different areas around the world and you need translating from, either the person that you're on the tour with or wherever, they can seamlessly translate and you can select the language in real time. So ultimately, what we're doing with the brand of Dome is taking the IP, the platform for all these various brands to do licensing deals and represent their own brand with this Dome cover and this impact that we're going to make in the deaf space and position the company for acquisition within the next 18 to 24 months. So this is an exciting update, Mark, for everyone who has maybe heard me before, but we just had a dream team placed at the table for Dome Audio with a former Apple engineer and a former Beats engineer, and they are building Dome for acquisition. What I mean by that is the most quality headphone materials, mechanisms, the look and feel, the finish, as well as the operation for mass production. So we're already in the waters with these big companies. They're one phone call away from having Dome brought to the table. But what we want to do first is finish the design, get our first rollout into the world, make that impact and demonstrate it. And then now let's pick up the phone with Apple because the value of the company would have grown much greater. So finally, anybody that's interested in the opportunity, I just wanted to share this. This is part of, creating that generational wealth and the ability to give back and empower people. Is we're raising capital. We just launched a new round of $5 million at $1.28 per share. And if anyone is interested, you can reach out to me directly at tim.wright@domeaudioinc.com, or you can go through Mark and he'll connect us as well. But I just wanted to offer that because that's part of the bigger picture and the opportunity for everyone to be involved. So thank you very much.
That opportunity is closed. I just bought all 5 million. Sorry, you're out. Although I'm not sure what this Apple, who's this Apple company you're talking about, though? I'm not familiar with them. Who needs them? No, that's absolutely amazing. I mean, listen, both of you guys are involved with companies that I think, are poised to be sort of household names, which is the exciting part. It's exciting. I mean, I'm also fortunate to be involved with a couple of brands that I believe are sort of still a little bit under the radar, but it's exciting when your company can be that next, whether it's Uber or Apple or whatever it is, right? So I think that's great. I'm excited for both of you. So with that said, Mike, why don't you tell me first, if I was to say to you, okay, we've got some fantastic people here today, and they all have huge networks. Who would who'd be the best for you to meet and be introduced to? Is it individual customers that would be interested in 3? Is it people who may want to be involved on the sales side for 3? Tell me a little bit about who you'd love to meet.
Well, obviously both, a consumer and someone who's interested in earning maybe some extra income or maybe a lot of money. as far as the opportunity, because we are so new. We've sold almost $80 million worth of products in less than 7 months worldwide now. Okay, so it's going everywhere. It's huge. It's becoming huge. So the opportunity to get involved in a direct sales company this early, we also offer a founders pack as well. That gives a 2% global revenue share opportunity for the first 20,000 of these founder packs that are sold. And that started February 20th, of course. Now we're down to around a couple thousand, if that. So those are trickling away now, but those give you an opportunity as a founder to collect a 2% or an opportunity to get a share of 2% or shares of 2% global revenue share every month. So again, it's just an opportunity for income if anybody's looking for income. But more so with me and my passion for health and fitness and wellness, it's these products are literally changing people's lives, and I'm not kidding. I've got testimonies all over the place. We're on threads, of course, where a lot of people are communicating and talking within the company, of course. And these are people who are already in, and they're just giving just non-warranted or unsolicited, testimonies on the experiences they're having with the products. So I know they're working. I know a lot of people are feeling all the benefits of these products, and they're working. And so the sky's the limit with regards to this opportunity.
Wow. That's exciting. That's great. And give me a quick, because again, we've already discussed this. I'm a little ignorant. So a thing of, is it similar in price to, let's say, others, or? Very,
very price comparable to a lot of products. As a matter of fact, a lot of people who are buying individual supplements for whatever their needs are, when they get on these products, they end up throwing a lot of that stuff away, and they're saving money because of how much they're spending on all those individual supplements that these products all have. I've got them right here. So you can, these are, the collagen is real popular for the women, and the, skin, hair, skin, and nails. Of course, this is a marine collagen from salmon. This is Eternel. It's got 200 milligrams of resveratrol in it, which is in wine, red wine. That's why the doctor says have a glass of red wine at night before you go to bed, and you'll be youthful. But you'd have to drink 7 bottles of red wine to get the amount of resveratrol that's in here. Glutathione is in here.
Is that a bad thing?
I mean, you can do it. I won't, but once you test it out, let us know how you feel.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you feel the next day, we got this Revive. This is our anti-inflammatories, and these are all natural. They got ginger and a bunch of other anti-inflammatory qualifications in there as well. This is our Purify. This is our basically our detox. We take 1 pill at night. That's when our bodies are detoxing anyways. It's a very mild detox, not real big. And then there are our immune product. This is real good for, it's got a lot of really, really great materials in it as well.
And then
the Vitalite. This is our multivitamin pack, but.
Got it. Cool. Very cool. I have one product I'd recommend. It's the Trader Joe's this is a dark chocolate with peanut butter on the inside, but it's not really recommended otherwise. Okay. Anyway, no, that's really cool, Mike. And listen, we're going to have a little bit of time afterwards to chat with some of the folks here, because again, what I want everybody here to understand and really offer up are any people in your networks that you believe might be either interested to be involved as a customer or a salesperson. So we'll talk about that. Thanks, Mike. Tim. All right. Before we talk about where I can get a really good haircut in the middle of Jersey somewhere, and I bet you have an idea about that. But tell me a little bit about, you spoke a minute ago about people being able to actually become investors in your company. But when do you expect to have when can I buy one?
Yes. Yeah. So we reached a point where about 6 months ago, as I softly mentioned earlier, we had sort of the final elements to the design that we thought were distinguishable enough to go into the space and essentially represent the same experience that our prototype has just been jaw-dropping people around the country. But it wasn't until the Apple and Beats engineer said, look, I worked with Steve Jobs for 20 years. And the other one said, I sat next to Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre from the beginning to end. And we know what the bigger companies are going to want to see. Let's take that final 8 months or so and really perfect everything about this and then go into the market. So the timeline has been extended a little bit more, but for everyone who wants to join us on this mission, it's going to be well worth it. And it's just it's a no compromise, moving at the speed of excellence approach. So we said, look, you guys are the expert matter, the guys that really has done this all the way through. and we're gonna turn this over and really get behind this movement and ride with you guys. So yeah, that's what I would say to everybody in about another 8 months or so.
All right. Well, look, I mean, I think we're all, I mean, I'm a little frustrated because I'm dying to try this thing out. I mean, maybe I have to drive down to, where are you again? Houston?
I'm in Houston, man. Come on by.
I'll be right down.
I got you, man.
Okay.
Like that. Yeah.
Well, that's not helping me much. It looks good, you know, I'm glad you're modeling it, but you know, we can find other models, can't we? No, I'm kidding. Anyways.
Right.
But no, that's awesome. And look, it's as someone who's involved with some brands that sometimes take a little bit longer to do things, I'm so impatient, it's ridiculous. And I want things to be out yesterday. But I know what you're saying. It has to come out in the right way, and you need to hit a home run with it. It can't be a single or double or whatever it might be. So that's awesome. So who, Tim, right now then, aside from, I guess, potential investors, but who else would you like to, I mean, who would be most helpful to you and your brand?
Yeah, you know, we're an open platform, and we're one that we don't have all the answers. And, you know, you can never have enough individuals that can contribute in a valuable and impactful way. So if there's anybody that is seeing what we're doing and have some type of connection or passion behind it, would love to have a one-on-one call, you know, speak further and take, again, any guidance, any introduction to a potential licensing deal, or, you know, of course, I would love all of you to be supporters and customers of Dome. But to step beyond that, I think the contribution to something that could be magical and the next big thing in the tech space is what I really want to open the invite for. So, yeah.
All right. That's good to know. All right. So before I jump out and we jump out back to the tables, I know that Shirley mentioned that she's also, I mean, a bunch of people do their own hair and others don't ever risk that. But she was suggesting you do some tutorials on TikTok. So
Shirley, I got you. You know, the funny thing is, so my grandmother, she was a hairstylist. My grandfather, he cut hair with all his sons and nephews and like little kids growing up. And then I learned like very early on, but he had a whole list of cousins and uncles in Maryland that when he was growing up in the 30s and 40s, they used to cut hair. So I come from that line of it. I just think that, you know, from, like Mike said, the things that we're exposed to now and the resources behind it, it's really no limit to how big you can make something happen. And that was just a compliment to being in the right place at the right time, for sure.
All right. So scissors or razor?
Depends on what you got. For you,
right.
for Mike, razor.
No brainer.
Right. Be careful.
That's funny. That's great.
My gosh, be careful either way.
That's a good point. All right, look, so last question. I'm going to ask each of you separately. So this time, Tim, you have a couple minutes to think about it, I guess, or a couple of seconds. But Mike, if I said to you that you have the opportunity tonight to have dinner with 3 people, alive or dead, who would they be?
Oh my gosh. My buddy Meatloaf.
Oh,
be one of them. I was friends with Meatloaf when he passed away
really?
Years ago. Yeah, I was. He was. I was his field goal kicker in his fantasy football league when I was playing, and so I miss him. He was a good dude. You know, my grandparents that I never really had much time to spend with that died early on. Both my grandfather from my mom's side and my grandmother from my dad's side. I would love to spend time with them.
Now, do you think that they would like Meatloaf?
The food or the singer?
Both.
Yes.
Neither. Of course.
I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. Good for you. All right, Tim.
Yeah. So I want to go with Steve Jobs first because I admire the way he delivers something that he's been working on behind the veil for maybe a few years, and then the timing of the introduction is just like, wow, we never thought of that. You know what I mean? Like, wow, how did you think of that? So I would like to pick his mind because it's very applicable to what I'm doing now.
Sure.
I always say LeBron James because we have a lot in common. Both have 3 kids, both been with our wives for a long time, and we look a lot alike. So I want to pick his mind. Future billionaire on the way. So I definitely want to sit in that table. And then I just thought about this, and Mike, you kind of provoked this, but I would say a dinner with both of my great-great-grandfathers who I never had a chance to meet, and kind of just understand, like I'm talking both of them sitting right there. I'm just picking their mind to know what lineage I come from, and kind of just find like both sides of the family. So I would love that opportunity to do that. And yeah, I would say that's my 3/4 people that I would like to have dinner with.
That's pretty awesome. You know, it's interesting that you mentioned some of those people. You know, I've asked this, 100 times or whatever, and some people, they focus on fairly recent people. And I always wonder why no one says, well, it'd be pretty wild to, I don't know, have dinner with like Napoleon or George Washington or Jesus or, something like that. Because I talk about picking brains. I mean, I got to watch out what I say, but I suppose though, someone like Napoleon, I'm like, dude, what are you thinking? What's going on? Whatever.
Right.
Exactly. But anyways, listen, I truly appreciate your time today. It's both of you have a fantastic journey, and you're both on a fantastic trajectory. It's really exciting, and I'm sure you're both wake up every morning excited doing what you're doing. And that's my mission, is to really help all athletes former athletes be able to have that, where you're excited again. You played a sport that you're excited to play. You got very excited for that competition and the adrenaline rush and everything else. But now you have that again. And that's a lot of what I talk about in my book is, win again. It's to get to that excitement level one more time. And as you said, not for long earlier, NFL, all the sports are like that. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, you know what, I'm going to retire today. This is a great day to retire. No, they don't. It gets thrown on them. So both of you are fantastic, as far as I'm concerned, role models for athletes who, and it may take a little while to get there, but it's a great transition in what you're doing, Tim and Mike. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. I'm glad you shared your stories here, and I look forward to seeing everything as it grows.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Mike and Mark. Sorry, sharing the stage with you, Mike, but thank you, Mark, for the consistency. This platform that you created is incredible. It's been a lot of, introductions that's been made and very fruitful futures that I look forward to. So thank you again for that, Mark.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. It's been a while.
It has. You've got just as much hair, so it's all good. Anyway, I'm losing mine. Don't worry about it. I got to stand. All right, we'll see you.